Okay, it's gang, welcome back to my bullshit. My name is Sybil and today I'm here alone. If you want any of Ali or I's socials, they'll be linked down in the description below. Also, just so you know, Ali reopened their Etsy shop. They're doing tarot readings along with astrological readings now. I know some of y'all were interested in it, so it's back up. That'll also be in the description. So a lot of you were asking me to head back on over to Reddit and start doing the Am I the Asshole videos again. But I wanted to do something a little different. This time I'm going through the tag that's assholes only. So all of the stories we'll be reading today are stories that the community has deemed as the OP being the asshole. OP means original poster if you were not on Tumblr in 2014. And let's start with a banger of a title I found. Am I the asshole for not keeping up with my wife's cleaning demands? I'm sorry, the title is just already bad enough because you know it's gonna be like the bare minimum. I haven't read it, but like you know. I had a major fight with my wife a few hours ago and I strongly think I'm in the right, but she is so angry I almost feel like I'm the one that's crazy. I'll provide context. I married my wife 3 years ago, but we have been together 6. One important thing to note is she's extremely clean. I regret not moving in together until we married because while I knew she was clean, I didn't know to the full extent. Let this be a lesson to live with your partner before marriage. She is the reason why our house looks like a model home. She hates dishes in the sink while I'm content to let them sit for a couple days. She spends her off days scrubbing bathrooms because in her mind they should be cleaned weekly. She doesn't let me bring my shoes inside and insists I shower immediately when I get home before laying in bed. There are a million more things, but hopefully you have an idea. First of all, I'm not loving the sentence, I regret not moving in together until we married, because to me that feels like he's saying that this issue outweighs his love for her and therefore he would not have married her if he knew she was so clean. Which to me is kind of a weird thing to hate about your partner. Don't get me wrong, like I know there's people that are like kind of messy. First of all, I'm not talking about people who are depressed or having mental health issues that cannot get out of bed and cannot clean. Like I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in general. There are people who can be on the messier side, and I'm sure if you're with like somebody who's super clean, that doesn't always jive well together. But I feel like that's like an issue that you can communicate through and not like a relationship ending kind of issue, you know what I mean? Like I feel like that's something that can be worked on. And also like the things that he's upset about to me feel pretty normal. Like she hates dishes in the sink while I'm content to let them sit for a couple days. Don't get me wrong, if you come to my home, there's probably a couple dishes in the sink. One of Allie's chores, because we split chores in the house, they do dishes and they do them at night. So like there'll usually be some dishes in the sink up until nighttime when Allie does them before bed. But like letting them sit for days is when food starts to rot and like stink the house and attract like fruit flies and stuff like that. So I understand why your wife doesn't want dishes in the sink for days, because that's when it starts to like raise like smell concerns, bug concerns, you know, not like, oh, there's just a fork in the sink. That's like dishes in the sink kind of vibe. And then she spends her off days scrubbing bathrooms because in her mind they should be cleaned weekly. Technically they should be. I'm talking from like an actual hygienic standpoint. If you're not cleaning your toilet once a week, if you're not cleaning your sinks once a week, that's when stuff starts to get gross. That's when stuff also starts to like stain, when your toilets start to stain, you know, when your sink gets that like ring of like yellow and it starts to stain, when you're just starting to see piles up on like the counters kind of stain. I think weekly is pretty normal and average to clean your bathroom, just in like the sense of like keeping it up. I know it sounds like I'm a parent right now, but it truly is good for your mental health to have a cleaner space, and it's good for your physical health because like the dirty dishes things, like when stuff starts to rot, when you're never cleaning your toilet and it can make you sick. I feel like weekly's like not that bad. The only one where I'm like, I can kind of agree with you is like she makes you shower before you get into bed. Granted, I don't know what this man does for work. He could be a construction worker and come home pooled in sweat for all I know. So that could make sense. But if it's just like a regular day job or he just went out with his friends or something and then comes home, that makes a little less sense to me. But like the others, I'm like, no, that sounds pretty basic. Like those are basic activities that you should be partaking in your home. Chores. There's more. I just had a lot to say about that. That threw me through a loop already. This didn't start hurting our marriage until we had kids. We have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. I'm a stay-at-home dad. I left work when wait, then why are you complaining about cleaning so much? If you're a stay-at-home dad, don't get me wrong, like I think that if somebody's a stay-at-home partner, like there's still like things that you can both partake in. But if your wife is working and you're stay-at-home, do the dishes. Take some of the load. I left work when our youngest was born, and that is when our disagreement on how clean the home needs to be started to get bad. She expects me to do most of the chores now when it used to be primarily her, and I wouldn't mind if they were reasonable. She wants the children to have a bath every day, and I think every 1 to 3 days is fine. She wants all of their toys put away by the end of the day, and I think there is no point when it will be a mess again. She wants the dishes done daily. She wants all the house bedding washed weekly. She wants me to vacuum weekly. She wants me to mop every 3 to 4 days, since in her logic, the kids spend a lot of time playing on the floor. They will not be hurt or sick if I mop every 2 weeks. Because I don't play along with most of her demands, she ends up being the one to do most of the housework when she gets home or her rare off days. You just said exactly why you should be doing it. Oh, this is vile. So I know that there's like Discord in the parenting community. Don't ask me how I know that. I spend a lot of time on TikTok. Of how often you should bathe your kids for health. But he's not saying, oh, because I believe XYZ from XYZ study. He's saying it out of pure laziness and not wanting to clean. He's like, I won't bathe my kid every day because I don't want to. And that's where it's not okay. What the fuck? The toys thing, I think it's totally valid for your wife wanting to come home and not step on a Lego. Shit hurts. I just teleported back to like 2017 with those memes. But that feels like a reasonable request to me, is like, when I come home, can you just like throw the toys in the chest? And that's like a chore that takes like 5 minutes. Literally. We do it with our cats. The mopping makes total sense to me, especially with a 1 and 2 year old. They're sticky and they can't stand. For their personal health, sure, yeah, mop. And then also like, I don't want to step on sticky syrup handprints. Like that sounds fucking gross. Your wife is right. Also, 3 to 4 days of mopping is pretty normal, especially in areas like a bathroom or a kitchen, where you're seeing like food drop or like water stains. Like that feels normal, right? And he's saying he wants to do it every 2 weeks. Like that's a long time to go without cleaning your floors. Twice a month, that's a very long time. And vacuuming once a week makes total sense to me. We have cats, so I have to vacuum like 3 times a week. So I envy the fact that your wife is only like once a week. Oh, she wants all the house bedding washed weekly. I wash it weekly, but once again, we have cats, so it's better for my allergies. I'm allergic to my cats, if you didn't know. I'm pretty sure the limit that they say for bedding is 2 weeks. So 1 week still isn't all that wild to me. Also, it's one of those things that takes like minimal amount of time. Pull everything off, throw it in the wash, forget about it for an hour, switch it, forget about it for an hour, and then take 5 minutes to put it on. Like the requests she's making are not difficult. You know what I mean? Like they're not wild requests. And then you leave her to do it on her rare off days, as you say, which is so mean. She works 40 to 80 hours a week, so it is a lot, but she does it to herself. Divorce. I feel I do what is reasonable. This all built up to today. She got home and saw I hadn't yet washed the dishes and there was still grease/food in some of the pans on the countertop. Also, I hadn't yet brought in the trash cans from the previous 2 days when they were emptied. She flew off the handle, calling me lazy and a slob. She said she would like for me to return to work since in her eyes I'm doing a poor job, and use the money to hire a weekly housekeeper and a nanny who wouldn't leave the kids in PJs all day. I got pissed and told her she is crazy and she works herself up over small things and I will not be leaving my kids with a stranger. She packed a bag for herself and our babies into her mom's house. I'm furious. Am I the asshole? Yeah! 40 to 80 hours a week, asks you to do the bare minimum, and she still does it. If somebody in your household is working 40 to 80 hours a week, I don't think that absolves you of anything at the home, you know what I mean? Like, I still think you should be helping in some way, you should still be having time with your children, you should still be a part of the life of the house and the family, of course. But if you're a stay-at-home person, like, yeah, you definitely should be doing the dishes. You should probably be vacuuming. Hey, maybe bathe your kids and give them an outfit instead of leaving them in their PJs all day. What? Like, yeah, you should have more home responsibility if you stay at home, not having to work, and then you're not even taking care of your kids because you're like, well, I don't want to bathe them. I'm just gonna leave them in the PJs. Why not? Yeah, they're just gonna go to bed at the end of the day anyways, so I take them out of their PJs if they're just gonna go to sleep anyways. Absolutely wild. Edit. So I'm the asshole. The common belief is I need to help more around the house. I'll see what I can do and apologize to my wife. Thanks, at least he learned, I guess. I don't know, it's like things like that. I'm like, sure, at least he learned, but why did it take the internet telling you you were an asshole for you to learn that being a stay-at-home dad means that you should probably like clean the sheets every once in a while? And I'm not saying that like being a stay-at-home parent isn't hard. I'm saying that it is a job in its own and you need to fulfill that job, as well as the person that's going to work to make sure that the home is paid for to fulfill having a home. You know what I mean? Like, they're both hard. Like, going to actual work and being a stay-at-home parent. Like, they're both hard, but when the stay-at-home parent is doing nothing and putting everything on the working parent, that's just a recipe for disaster and collapse. Now, if he was doing everything and she was doing everything that she was supposed to and everybody was meeting their needs equally, it wouldn't be an issue, right? But she's like, hey, you're not doing anything at home and you're leaving all of the bulk on me. 40 to 80 hours of work a week, and then on my off day, I still have to clean because you won't clean the bed sheets. Like, that one made me mad. I don't know why that got me heated. Am I the asshole for hiding my pregnancy and showing up to my sister-in-law's baby shower? Does that mean that you waited until your sister's baby shower to announce your pregnancy? Because yes, if that's the case. I know all of these are already labeled asshole, but it's still fun. It's still fun to break down why. If that's what they mean, yeah, let's just take away everybody's moment. It's like proposing at a wedding when you didn't already ask for consent to propose at that wedding. Like, if you asked for consent and everybody was on board and they were like, yeah, do it, like, chill. But if you just like go to somebody's wedding and propose, you're the asshole. And that's how I feel about this so far. But let's actually delve on in. I, 23 female, am currently 8 months pregnant. Wow, how did you keep that a secret? We had been keeping it a secret and planned to tell people around this time, but a few months after my pregnancy, my sister-in-law, 26, found out she was pregnant, and then it just felt awkward to announce. We wanted to wait for the right time. I've been with and married to my husband for only 6 months, but we've been together on and off since we were 14, permanently together since we were 16. When we were 17, we found out I was pregnant. When we were 17, we found out I was pregnant. I had complications. I gave birth to my preemie stillborn at 25 weeks. I'm sorry to hear that. So this pregnancy, we've been extra cautious and secretive. That makes sense to me. I haven't seen family much these past few months and I carry small, but as I developed a bump, I've been wearing hoodies and loose clothing. With that, I kind of just looked like I gained weight. We were hesitant on me going. I was just going to send my husband with a gift of mine, but sister-in-law said she really wanted me to be there. I decided to try my best to hide the bump and go. It was all going well. No one noticed. I mean, I got a few looks, but no one asked me anything. Then about an hour in, I started having tiny cramps that eventually got more aggressive. I told my husband we need to leave. I need to go to the hospital. As we're walking, a sharp pain hit me and I grabbed the picnic table next to me and I almost stumbled over, causing attention to myself. I really thought I was in labor. The pains were getting so intense. People started surrounding us, asking what was the matter, and my husband says, she's pregnant, guys, she's pregnant, something's going on, we have to leave. He was panicked himself. He rushed me to the hospital. By the time we got to the hospital, my pains had subsided. They said it was false labor. My husband and I both had angry text messages from sister-in-law and other guests at the party about us hiding the pregnancy, how messed up it was, and how they couldn't believe I showed up pregnant and was secret about it. How I had a baby stunt at someone else's shower, just a lot of not nice texts. Not one asking if I was all right. You know what? I'm actually gonna disagree with this being labeled the asshole by the community. I'm gonna disagree. And here's why. She has the trauma that came with, you know, a stillborn birth, and I couldn't even imagine that trauma. So she wanted to make sure that she was going to carry to full term after something so horrendous had happened to her. She was doing what she could to hide it, which, like, it's not really anybody's business. Like, yeah, I'm sure family would be hurt by, like, not being told and stuff like that, and I can understand that hurt and why that hurt would exist. Like, it's truly nobody else's business, technically speaking. Like, that is her private life and information, and the circumstance was not on purpose. Because, like, when I read the title and I saw it was labeled asshole, I was like, oh, she went to a baby shower and then announced her pregnancy. Not cool, not chill, like, that's messed up. But hers was a medical emergency. It wasn't like she showed up and was like, hey guys, I'm pregnant too, fuck you SL. No, that's not what she did. That's not what happened. And while I understand, like, a baby shower is a monumental moment in somebody's life, like kind of like a marriage, it's very monumental, anything could happen. You know, somebody could drop dead at your baby shower. Would you then blame them and be like, how dare you have this medical emergency at my baby shower? Yes, I understand it probably hurts the sister-in-law to, like, not have been told and all that, and then to have that happen, it's like, wow, screw you. But I think the circumstance and knowing the context, she's not the asshole. It was not supposed to happen. Health emergency. So I'm gonna go against the grain on this one and say not the asshole. I'm kind of shocked that it's labeled the asshole. I didn't expect that to happen in this video. I thought they were all gonna be like, screw you, this is so funny, you're a lame-o. But no. I also think this is the first one that I've disagreed with the community label. I'm scared. Don't tear me apart. We can disagree. It's okay. It's okay. I swear, it's fine. It's fine. We can have disagreeing opinions. So I'm looking at the titles, and I was gonna do something saucy like, am I the asshole for not inviting my unsupportive sister to my wedding, right? We're like, okay, that's fun. But this one, am I the asshole for not letting my sister believe that she can talk to a bird? My 16 male family has a pet parrot. They are all pretty much obsessed with him, and my younger and older sisters both keep buying him toys, new food, making him new fruit and vegetable mixes to try out, etc. My parents also pay a lot of attention to him and even set up an extra room we have for his cage so he can sleep better at night. He has been with us for a few months now, and my family's obsession still hasn't died down. I've been mostly indifferent since I'm not the biggest fan of animals, and my parents keep him away from my room. Luckily for me, it seems he doesn't like me anyways, so it's even easier to avoid him flying to my shoulder or anything like that. The problem though is that today my sister Emma, 10, oh, I have a sister named Emma, was talking quietly to that bird. She was holding him and saying things to him like, "You know I love you, right?" and kissing him on the head while the parrot would just mimic the sound. It went on for a while and she repeated that enough that it seemed like she was looking for a response, so I told her, "You know he doesn't understand you, right?" After I said that, she just looked at me and made a sour face and ignored me. I didn't want her to actually believe this bird can understand what she is saying since she watches a lot of Disney movies, so I feel like they could have given her the wrong idea. I gently explained to her that it's just a bird and that he doesn't understand things like we do. She told me to stop bothering her and ended up leaving the room and told my mom about it. My mom told me she believed it was harmless for my sister to talk to her pet and that the bird reciprocated her feelings. So I told her that this will harm my sister's way of thinking and get her bullied at school. She told me to drop it and not get involved anymore. Am I the asshole? I think my sister is old enough to understand what I'm saying and my mom is just too nice. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. This is like a typical story I would expect from a 16-year-old brother and a 10-year-old sister being a dick about something that's bringing her joy, as somebody with older brothers. When we're younger, a lot of us have the tendency to think in terms of growing up and forget that other people around our age are in the same mindset for the most part. Like, I remember when I was 10, I was like, oh, I need to stop playing with like my Playmobil and my Legos and stuff like that. Like, I'm gonna start looking like a little nerd. I was 10. Every other 10-year-old is doing that. Every other 10-year-old is playing with these things. Every other 10-year-old is probably starting to think about that stuff too because of the social pressure from people like older siblings, from people like teachers, some parents even. When in reality, it's a 10-year-old doing 10-year-old things. And because he's 16, he's only 6 years older, and he's like, well, I outgrew that phase, so now it's your time. Not recognizing that she's still just 10. She's not even in middle school yet. That's an elementary kid. Like, you're doing too much. It sounds more so that you are trying to cause trouble, if I'm being honest. It sounds like the older brother trying to be a dick for funsies. We've seen it before. We see it all the time. Come on now, just be honest. Especially with the context of like, you don't like the bird. You're like, everybody's so obsessed with this bird. I don't really like animals. I don't really get it. You know that bird can't fucking understand you, right? Like, that's how it feels. On top of that, animals absolutely can understand feeling. Like, the bird might not understand what I love you means and like reciprocate it that way. But when you spend a lot of time with an animal and you give it a lot of attention and you give it a lot of love and you give it words in like affirming tones, animals can pick up on that. So I don't know why Mr. 16-year-old, I don't like animals, thinks he knows so much about animals, right? I'm sorry, this is just such a dick move to me. Telling a 10-year-old, your bird doesn't understand that like you love it and stuff, like stop. Like, you've been watching too many Disney movies, you punk ass little fucking 10-year-old? It feels mean and it feels like the intention was to be mean. Even if he's like writing it like, I like calmly explained to her, I'm like, no, I don't believe you for a minute, sir, I don't. There's a good comment on this one though. I asked my dog, she says you're the asshole. My kitten agrees. The older cats declined to comment at this time. This comment really wraps it up for like how I feel. You're the asshole. You jealous of a parrot, dude? And yes, that bird absolutely understands your sister. No, not the words I love you in the sense that it has an understanding of I or you, but in the sense that it hears those sounds and feels the affection. Seems like the bird understands love better than you. Yeah, that's like how it feels. It feels like jealousy. It feels like your parents got a bird and everybody loves the bird and you're not much of an animal person, so you're like not in on like the thing, and so you're jealous. And that's normal. Those emotions are normal, but you work on them. You work through them. You communicate. You don't just start telling your 10-year-old sister that she's too old for 10-year-old things. Glad we could end with another one that got me heated. Because that middle one, I was like, wait a second. It's okay to be your age. You know, I wish people, when they're younger, were more okay with being their age. Because I feel like when you're so young, you know, whether you're the 10-year-old sister, whether you're the 16-year-old brother, you're so worried about growing up and being an adult that you forget to just enjoy the time that you're in and the age that you are. And then you grow up and you're suddenly like, fuck, now I have all these responsibilities. Shit, how am I gonna pay rent? Ugh, you know? Just enjoy being 16 and let your sister enjoy being 10. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Like I said, Allie's tarot business is back open and they're doing astrology stuff now on there as well. So check that out if that's something you've been waiting for. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you really liked it. Also, if you watch my videos often, check to make sure you're subscribed, because I've had people tell me that they thought they were subscribed but then checked and then that they were never subscribed, so you know, check that. And with that being said, if I take this half empty big red and I put it up to your little head, I'll say I can't wait to see you again. Bye.